Hello and welcome to Niche Sports. It is the semi-final of the Euro 2020, and first up we've got Italy versus Spain. And as you saw from our introduction, it already tells you two people who are going to be joining with us, but we have one more. So we've got a full-fledged panel for this show as Italy take on Spain. And yes, they say it is coming home. Technically, it is at home because all the games right now are at the Wembley Stadium in England. So let me bring my guests on because we all are excited for this. It's going to be a good game, definitely, and we are looking ahead to this semi-final. So first up, let me get someone who has been with me right from the start. It is Akash, and unfailingly, he's wearing the Spanish jersey.
Vamos.
Yes, vamos, but remember you've got to be objective and you've got to be very well balanced. And to bring that balance into this panel, we've got Suyash Upadhyay, football commentator and football presenter. Hi Suyash, and I like the shirt that you're wearing today.
Good evening, Nishad. Thank you. Quite a long story behind it, but I'll get to that later.
Yeah, exactly. And as I said, he's bringing the balance into this panel. Well, both of us are because we've got a fourth guy, and that's going to be Kaustav. And guess what he's wearing?
Woo! Good evening,
There we have it.
senoritas.
There we have it with the senors and senoritas and all the Spanish that he may have learned from Narcos and from all the other TV series that you have watched where they speak Spanish. But anyways, guys, let's get to the serious business. For the first time, we are only focusing on one game because it's the semi-final. We've got the first one coming in today. Fans, we can tell you that we've got to comment. Obviously, you can join in the discussions. Tell us in the YouTube comments what you think. Tell us in the Facebook comments, and you can join in this discussion. Our friend Sachin is there. He's saying that Alacantra to start, I hope. Let me just feature his comment here. And yes, this is one of the features that we have in our live where we can feature your comments on screen. So do join us. And I'm going to first start with Suyash. Italy versus Spain. You know, expected. We thought they would come into the semi-finals. Your preliminary thoughts as we go into this potentially exciting game.
I mean, the fourth time they're meeting in a European Championship in a row. So to start off with, that's something. The two sides that are very familiar with each other. But the familiarity ends at the point that Italy are not the Italy of yesteryear anymore. Italy line up in a different way. Italy play in a different way. Although they have that defensive solidity at the back, and that is still the bedrock of their style of play, they have this added sense of flair and expression that their players seem to have on the pitch. And Roberto Mancini has really, let them loose and let them express themselves freely. So that kind of a style compared to Spain, who have been faithful to, at the cost of sounding reductionist, tiki-taka. There's a lot more about Spain's game than just kind of reducing it to tiki-taka. But broadly speaking, possession-based football. And that is something we've seen from Spain for the last 2 decades. Football, many people say, has grown and evolved beyond tiki-taka, and it's a style that people have figured out. But, on the big day, anything can happen. So I really see this game as a matchup between two styles. One slightly more evolved, which I believe is the Italian style, because Italy are robust. They can play the short stuff, but they can also mix it up when they want to. They have plan B. On the other hand, Spain, who are wedded to their philosophy and pound for pound maybe have the better technical players of the two teams. It's going to be really interesting to see how both teams line up against each other. I can't wait.
Right. Sorry about that. I think there was just a bit of a lag due to the network. But let me get Akash into the discussion. What are your thoughts on what Suyash has pointed out about the Spanish and their strategy heading into this game?
I couldn't agree with Suyash more. I mean, the point that he made about the possession-based football, the fact that both teams, I think, have employed this tactic throughout the matches that they've played over the past so many years. Ball possession is something that they enjoy a lot, and they're not, especially the Italians, are not someone who are going to just sit back and defend, and then wait for the other team to come at them, and then they are the ones who attack through counter attacks or through set pieces or whatever. So I'm with Suresh on that, and it'll be interesting to see because both the teams enjoy possession-based football. So either one of them will have to sort of give up their style during the game, and the other team will sort of enjoy less. Will say less of the ball. They'll have to defend most of the time, and we might just see an interesting contest where both teams enjoy equal possession. So that will be an interesting scenario, especially for the neutral fans. Apart from that, it is also noteworthy to see that they have adopted to the game, as Suyesh said, over the years. They have mixed the good old defensive football that they used to play all those years ago with the modern possession-based football, more incisive, more passes in the final third, and as we've been watching over this tournament, a complete control over the game is what both teams aspire to have. So it's going to be an interesting contest for sure.
Kostov, over to you now. Another one of your Spanish observations, as I may say. Do you agree with what Suyash and Akash have said? And where do Spain fit in now against an Italian team that are on the rise?
Absolutely. As Sriyash and Akash pointed out, they have that very content, possession-based game, be it the Spanish side, be it Barcelona per se. However, the past has said that when you have too much possession, the the attack comes into the question. It all depends on Morata or probably one of the strikers to convert the possession that they have from the very beginning. Italians have been an amazing side, to be very honest. I think they have the flair, they have the agility, they have everything that it takes when it comes to a very high pressured match like the semi-final right now. So it's going to be a tough one, no doubt.
Exactly, and Suyash, considering the way Italians have played right through, and the way in the quarterfinals, especially with those two goals, the last one by Insigne, obviously, really capturing the eyeballs all over the globe. That flair seems to be a real driving force, and as you said, Mancini has got that back for the Italians.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the exact stat, but they've gone unbeaten for an insane number of games. And if anyone over here remembers, you can fill me in over here. But
I think 37 games, they've won 28 and
There you
scored
go.
90.
Right, right. So, and remember, Mancini took over this side when Italian football was really in the doldrums about a couple of years back when they failed to qualify, and for the Euros. And the fact that Italy have somehow managed to combine their old school defensive style with this new flair kind of leads me to believe that they are a slightly more evolved side. Now I have two people over here who are wearing Spanish jerseys who might not agree with what I say, but in terms of football evolution, I really enjoy exploring this plot line, which is the evolution of footballing styles over the years. Like I said, Spain have been faithful to this one style, and what we've seen in club football and in international football over the last 5 or 6 years is that, again, dynamism and how quickly you can change in game really matters a lot. A lot of emphasis is now being paid on a high energy style and a high pressing style, which is something that Spain could kind of pass their way through maybe from the 2008 to 2012 period. But a lot has changed in football, and if Spain can stick to their principles and still produce a victory, it'll be a vindication for that kind of a style. Which is it's not a far stretch to think that might happen. But at the same time, Italy, and you talk about their flair and you talk about how they express themselves, that is what the modern player is about. The modern player has a healthy mix and a balance of knowing when to express themselves and also have that sense of responsibility and accountability to the rest of the team and his teammates to sort of do the defensive work and dirty work when required. So that's why Italy really fascinates me, and that's why they've been such a great story in this tournament.
Right, Suyash. And it is interesting you bring that up because we've got a comment or rather question from one of our viewers. Yash Jha asks, Italy have been the most efficient counter-attacking team of these Euros. 5.6 counters per game with 40% resulting in a shot. Is Spain's natural defensive approach ripe for the taking here? Akash, Kostav, why don't you two chip in here for this question?
So I really think that Italians have got that little bit of an advantage over Spain when it comes to overall attacking prowess. However, I also feel that they've got a common problem as well between the two of them. They've got the problem of that finishing striker in front of goal. Italy have all their own issues with Ciro Immobile. He has not been that clinical in this tournament. Spain again have had their issues with Alvaro Morata. So although Ciro Immobile has scored a lot of goals for Lazio at club level, so and I was reading somewhere that the Italians have just conceded 7 shots on goal. I mean, that's insane given the amount of the type of teams that they face in the tournament. So as far as this stat is concerned, I think the natural defensive approach that we've seen in this tournament from Spain with Pau Torres and Aymeric Laporte coming in at the right time, peaking at the right time for Spain defensively. It will be interesting to see if they change that tactic, and if they do, if do they take the risk of allowing the Italians to come at them, and then if Italians do end up scoring in the first 10 minutes and they take control of the game, it's going to be a long 2 hours for Spain in this semi-finals. So I'll be looking forward to seeing the transition that either team would have to sort of resort to in case they don't enjoy ball possession.
It's interesting. I just caught something you said. It's going to be a long 2 hours for Spain. So are you predicting it going into extra time and we having 2 hours?
Might as well. You never know. It might just go to penalties. But the longer it goes, the nicer it would be for the neutrals, I think.
Absolutely. That's me and that's Suyash here. But let me get another guy who's not neutral in this contest. Kostav, your views on this question by Yash, and also what Akash said that it could possibly be a game that we might see head into extra time.
Absolutely, and I expect a ton of goals as well. It's not going to be a very drab kind of a match at the end of the day. But then again, absolutely, it's a semi-final at the end of the day. So we are going to be we are in for a very nice treat, to be very honest. But then again, when it comes to the Spanish footballing style, how they hold on to the ball, the possession that they have, the only way to beat that is counter-attacking football, because that is something that's going to be Italy's a strength, one of the major strengths out there. Of course, the defensive giants will play a key role to the entire counter-attacking football that these guys play. However, I think I'll leave the predictions up for till the end.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've seen what happens to predictions on the show. Thanks to a few performances, you guys know very well, and you can see that Suyash is already tight-lipped about what's going to happen. But Suyash, can we expect a battle of attrition, to use the word? Kostav expects a lot of goals, but do you, in a sense, feel, considering the Spanish approach and Italian flair, maybe it could ultimately also become a battle of attrition?
It could, Nishad. The game, it's the kind of game which you really don't know how it's going to go. You really can't place a finger on it. There's only one team over here that believes in a definitive style, which is Spain, and you can't see Spain really changing it up. So it might very well be a case of Italy responding to what Spain tried to do, because Spain have a great way of playing. They have one way of playing, whereas Italy are slightly more adaptable. Of course, it's not as chalk and cheese as that. There are intelligent players on both sides, but I'm talking largely on a general level. So it's tough to predict what kind of game it can be. For all you know, it's going to be an open game. Someone, Italy or Spain, score in the first minute, and then all your attrition and all the predictions of what kind of a game it's going to be go out of the window. But it's likely that it will be a tight game, because simply because of so much quality on either side. Uh, Considering Spain have conceded more goals than Italy, I would back Italy to have the penetrative edge slightly more, simply because again they are adaptable in that sense. But if it does go down to attrition, and if it does go down to a question of which team wants it more, I think both teams are gonna give very very little on the pitch. Because there's no player over there who's gonna leave anything outside of the pitch. Everything is going to be given inside those white lines, and you can be sure of that. So if it does, we very well might see 120 minutes like Akash let slip earlier on.
Yes, and Costa, earlier in the day, you had sent me quite a few statistics, which is there even on our Instagram handle. Something like, Spain becoming the first team to score 5 goals in successive Euro matches, with a 5-3 defeat of Croatia in the last 16 on 28 June. Then a game in which they led 3-1 with 5 minutes left. That was, and there were extra time goals that obviously took them through. And
Sorry,
yeah.
go on.
No. So, they did score those 5 goals apiece in those 2 matches. And it's like, is that the reason why you say you also expect a lot of goals in this game?
Absolutely, because it's going to be a game where minds will the smarter the player, the better the match will flow. So at the end of the day, the most interesting stat that I gave you was if the Spanish side, every time they have won the quarterfinals, they've gone on to lift the trophy. So that's the most interesting stat, And I'm not a firm believer of all these sayings per se. But then again, at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a tight match. To be very honest.
Yes, and the last 2 times that Suyash, go ahead.
Just adding on to what Kostov said earlier, when you said that it's going to be a tight game, it's the kind of game where I feel there's going to be, after a point, after the first whistle goes, it's going to be a game where player accountability comes into account a lot. It's going to be it's I don't think tactics or any managerial changes or swaps are going to count for a lot in this kind of a game. Simply because of the quality on hand. There's no dearth of quality on either side, but it's when it's that age old thing about how much does a manager influence and how much is down to the players. And we've had instances in debates where people have put the blame on the manager for a team's poor performance. But this is the kind of game in which experienced players will step up and have to show some kind of accountability and in-game decision making to adapt. And that's what's going to define what's going to happen in this game, because small margins are going to be the difference over here.
Yes, and Akash, your views on what Suyash and Costa have just added?
I would tend to agree with Suyash and Kostov both. Also, Shashank also believes that I just saw his comment that it's going to be a goal fest. It will be interesting to see how they adjust, though, to the injuries that they have had in the last game. Spinazzola is not going to play. He's out for a long term. And then Pablo Sarabia also for Spain is out. So I think
Italy will go. Alcantara will play. I mean, Sachin asked the question, and we know that Sachin comes from an angle where he's a complete Liverpool supporter. But do you think Alcantara will play?
From what I've seen in the tournament, Luis Enrique has shown a lot of faith in Gerard Moreno. So, and he's the one who usually plays on the right for Villarreal as well. He did the same in the Europa League for Villarreal and in the La Liga as well. So you'd expect him to come in to replace Sarabia. And I think the Italians will replace Spinazzola with a more traditional Emerson. Is more defensive in his approach, and will be interesting to see if the Spaniards are able to take advantage of the fact that the Italians don't have Spinazzola on the attacking flank. At times, I remember Spinazzola was so good that you could see him at the back with the centre backs when they were defending. At the same time, when they attack and during transitions, you could see him the next to Ciro Immobile in the 5-6 seconds time. So he was such an attacking threat down the left flank for the Italians, and I think they're going to miss him. But I don't think his absence is going to have that much of an impact on the amount of attacking flair that they already have. I'm also looking forward to this midfield battle between Spain and Italy. The Italians have Pedri. Spaniards have got Pedri, Koke, and Busquets. Italians have got Verratti, Jorginho, Barella. So it's going to be a clash of the midfield generals today. So overall, a very juicy encounter that we can expect.
Absolutely.
Right,
One more
yes,
sad
yes.
thing is such a technical player like Thiago Alcantara. At the end of the day, not seeing him play, it hurts my heart because I've been seeing him play when he was a substitute for Barcelona, when he went on to Bayern, with a very nice long run he had over there, and he ended up in Liverpool. At the end of the day, it just breaks my heart to not see him play. But then again, I don't see any space for him because Busquets, Koke, and Pedri, all three of them are like set with their own possessions. So it's sad in a way.
Now we've got another question from Yash. Spain have dropped Morata and are playing Oyarzabal as the front man. Olmo, Oyarzabal, Ferran up top. What does everyone make of that? One by one, very quickly before we head into the predictions. So we'll start with Suyash.
I actually want to throw it to the Spaniards in-house first. I want to see what they have up their sleeves before I make my comment.
Let's go to the Spaniards first. In-house Spaniards.
Out of the three players, I think Ferran has been in good goal scoring form for club and country. So I think it's a good decision to start him in this game. So has Oyarzabal in this tournament. He has scored a couple of goals. Dani Olmo has been in good form for his club in Dinamo Zagreb. So it's a good interchanging front three that Spain have. It's going to cause it may or may not cause problems to the centre back pairing of the Italians because they are seasoned defenders and they know how to deal with such players who interchange every now and then. So it'll be interesting to see how these three deal with centre backs, Italian centre backs.
I completely agree with Akash, and I would also like to add on. I think Luis Enrique has something in his back pocket where he's saving up Morata for the ending the third half of the entire match. So I think that's one of his tricks up his sleeves. But then again, let's see how it works out.
Perfect, guys. And let me remind the viewers again, we are heading into the predictions round. You can also put in your predictions in the comment section on Facebook and YouTube where we are going live. So to start with, I'm going to ask Suyash to first talk about what the in-house Spaniards have observed about that lineup, and then we'll come to the predictions.
I mean, what Kostov said about Morata and how he might be brought on later on, I think that makes sense, considering that Morata has been misfiring in the sense that he does miss more chances than he converts. His conversion rate is not great. And in a match like a Euro semi-final, you need someone to take the chances when they come his way. So in that sense, I think Oyarzabal would make for a better fit. Having said that, and I've had this discussion with a couple of people before as well, is that there's no manager in world football who would persist with a player who the whole general public actually thinks has got a skill set that does not serve his team well. But despite that, if you keep kind of putting faith in that kind of a play, it shows that there's something that goes beyond just the naked eye. That player offers something that we don't see as spectators and observers. So in that sense, there's no question on Morata's deserving place in this side. But for a game like this, it would make more sense to have Oyarzabal start and then maybe bring him on later on. Because look, when Morata did get the chance after 90 minutes when he scored that goal to make it 4-3 for Spain, I mean, he's also capable of that kind of a finish. So we can't forget about that as well. So it would make more sense to have him off the bench today.
And he's very physical as well. So
yeah.
Very less. You don't see a lot of strikers who are that physical out there. I'm sure the technical ability is, not into the question over here. But then the physicality of Morata and the speed that he has with that physical ability actually gives him the extra edge, I think. But then again, it obviously makes sense because he has been not up to the mark, like an on and off player. But let's see how it works out with him.
Yeah.
Suyash, your predictions?
I'm going for a tight Italy win 2-1 within 90 minutes. Sorry, guys.
Oh, tight Italy went 2-1. And now
Yeah.
we've got, who's going to balance it out now? It's Akash.
Yeah, so I think Luis Enrique will hope that their luck turns in front of goal against Italy, and that Spain find the cutting edge to complement their creativity. But Mancini's side are unlikely to give them as many opportunities as the other opponents have in this tournament. So, with a very heavy heart, I feel it's not going to be an easy one for the Spaniards. Italians might just edge it in this one.
Proud of
And
you,
Costa
Akash.
finally.
Proud of you.
I think it's going to be a draw 3-all, where Spain will be the ones who will score one of the last minute equalizers. But then again, it's just a prediction out of the blue, because the Italians might look very agile. They might look very the overconfidence might be into the picture for the Italians out here. So. Then again, we are no one to actually talk about the actual things that go on in the ground out there. But then again, I think it'll be a 3-all draw, with the Spanish side equalizing, and it'll be like a penalty shootout where the Italians lose by a goal.
Okay, so if that happens, we are in for a real treat. We're in for a real great
वो
contest.
हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना
Yeah.
हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना आपके मुंह में घी शक्कर. I would like to say that to Costa.
Yeah, absolutely.
3-3 अगर हो गया 3-3 हो गया तो क्या ही बात है.
Costa
I wanna
might
watch a game
Wow.
want something else. V Shakkar ke jagah pe he might prefer something else, I think.
Yeah, good chocolate brownie from Theochromas.
Yeah, why not? And yes, all the viewers, thank you so much for joining us. We were having good comments today. It was really nice to see. Do enjoy the game, which is in about an hour's time from now. And we will be back again tomorrow, the four of us. And we'll have to see if Costa and Akash will be still wearing their Spanish jerseys or not. Remember, I have not worn my Portugal jersey after the round of 16. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining me. And I look forward to having you all again tomorrow, having our viewers as well tomorrow, and building up to the final. And tomorrow we'll finally also know, we'll be one step closer to finding out if it is indeed coming home. So see you all, and do like, subscribe to our channel on YouTube, and press the bell icon for all the updates. And remember to follow us across all the social media platforms. I have to say this because otherwise Costa won't be a very happy man. But anyways, thank you so much everyone for joining us. It's goodbye. And yes, we will see you again tomorrow.